Good afternoon. Welcome and happy Friday. Let's see. We need to get this out of the way. Let's go and be autograph. Nice to see you on this fine day. Let's put that one there. Let's put this one over here. Can close this. How's it going, Thine Din? Sorry if I mispronounced that, my friend. Garrett Trailer as well over on YouTube. Let's turn this off. And all right. So welcome to everyone. Let's get the browser. Where's that one? That's over here. Welcome, everyone. This is Deep Dive Weekly Live Stream. If you are new, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. This is a weekly live stream. However, on most weeks, it is not me streaming. It's actually Scott Shawcroft, the lead developer of CircuitPython, working on whatever is the latest things and goings on inside of the core. Usually Scott's working on some kind of cutting edge stuff in there. He is not around this week, and I am filling in as I do whenever I'm available, and he is not. If you are in that boat of being new, not having seen this stream before, then you may not know that this stream is typically centered around CircuitPython stuff. Scott's the lead developer of the CircuitPython project. I work on the project part-time as well. CircuitPython is a version of Python that can run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. There's a bunch of pictures of them over here on the downloads page. Basically, these are just tiny computers that if you choose to use CircuitPython with them, you'll plug them into your computer, usually with a USB cable. They show up like a thumb drive, and you can edit a Python code file on that thumb drive and then save it, and the computer inside the little chip in here will actually interpret and execute that Python code for you. That is kind of the high-level look at it. If you are interested in learning more, you can learn more at circuitpython.org. There are links to the documentation and the forums and the Discord, which are all great places to go if you want to learn more or discuss anything about CircuitPython with the folks who work on it or use it. CircuitPython is an open source project. Anyone's allowed to use it. Anyone's allowed to port CircuitPython to their own microcontrollers as well. Even if you're a third-party company, you can create a microcontroller and you can add support for that microcontroller to CircuitPython. You don't need to pay for a license or anything like that. It's all free. CircuitPython is open source, but the company that funds it is Adafruit. This is their website, adafruit.com. They're a hardware and software company based out of New York. They are paying the folks who work on CircuitPython as a full-time job, and they're also paying some folks like me who work on the project part-time. So huge thanks, as always, to Adafruit. And if you want to help support CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways you can do it is just purchase hardware from them. The more hardware they sell, the more that prolongs their ability to fund the development of CircuitPython. How's it going, my friend Zamrijade? I probably butchered that. If so, I apologize. But it's nice to see you as well, my friend. Let's see, that's the introduction. So today, more specifically, where we are diving into is actually into the core, which I don't necessarily do all the time. Even when I do stream on the deep dive here, sometimes we work at the actual Python layer in library land or on projects and stuff like that. But today, we are actually diving back into the core where Scott normally works. I am not working on necessarily cutting edge stuff, new chips and things like that. What I'm working on is trying to add some capabilities, or to be more specific, to refactor some capabilities, which I have already added some portion of in this development branch that I'm working on. How's it going, Mark Gambler? So let me show you and tell you what we have so far, and then I'll dive in. I am working on some functions in the core that allow you to test whether two shapes are intersecting or not. The shapes are vector IO shapes, and the way that this works right now in the development branch is, we go back to the code here. This is the code that's driving that example. The way that it works right now is it is actually on the rectangle object, vector.io rectangle and vector.io circle. So it's actually on those objects, and you call, either rectangle.intersects or circle.intersects, and then you pass in the other object that you are testing against. So you could pass in another rectangle, or you could pass in a circle, which is what's happening here. And then it will return true or false based on whether or not those two shapes are intersecting or touching one another. But I would like to refactor it and change it. This is kind of a convenient way to write the code where it's just like rectangle intersects circle. I won't lie, this is a pretty convenient way to write the Python code here, and it's nice and understandable, and I like the way that it works and everything. But the problem is having it like this actually ends up necessitating that there's a bunch of duplicated code inside the core. If we go look at module circle, at the intersects, I should say, function, inside of here, basically it has to have one branch of logic for if the other shape is a rectangle, and then it has to have one branch of logic for if the other shape is a circle, and then this one is inside of circle, and if we go look over in rectangle, there's basically the same thing, where we have this one branch that says the other shape is a rectangle, and we have another branch that says the other shape is a circle. Which means we're basically duplicated, right? We have two branches of logic in this code which handle rectangle to rectangle intersection testing. We have two branches of code that handle circle to rectangle. Yeah, we have two branches that deal with circle to rectangle. I don't know if that's what I said the first time or not, but basically that's what we ended up with here is we're doubling up the work. And the thing is, there's still also a polygon shape inside vector.io, and I would like to implement this for polygon as well. So if we were to go and implement that for polygon, what that would mean is we would have actually three branches of logic inside of here. It would have to say, oh my goodness, what have I done? Okay. It would have to say, is the other shape a rectangle? Is the other shape a circle? Or is the other shape a polygon? And it would have another branch here, and that would have to go on all three shapes, right? That would have to go on circle. That would have to go here on rectangle. That would have to go over there on polygon, where I haven't even implemented anything yet. So each different shape it supports kind of like multiplies out the amount of copies of the necessary blocks of code, basically, which is not ideal. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is move it to vector.io init, which will mean on the Python side of things, you will no longer be able to say rectangle intersects circle. Instead, you will have to do something like if vector.io dot, so this is currently a rectangle and a circle, so it would be something like vector.io dot rectangle circle intersects, and then you would need to pass in mathematical, like numerical values, not objects. So you need to pass in, I'm going to go with the order of the names, so rectangle stuff first. Let's say rect x, rect y, whoops, rect width, rect height, circle x, circle y, circle radius. So you'll need to pass in all those values. Maybe we could make them tuples or something. They don't have to necessarily be split out, I suppose. Although it does kind of make it easier. But the main difference is instead of passing the objects, we're going to be passing the actual values. So this would be like static rect.x, static rect.y, static rect.width, static rect.height, Should you not say polygon with n sides? I don't know what you mean necessarily. Should I not say that? Should I not say polygon with n sides? Like versus rectangle, you mean? Like a rectangle is a polygon with 4 sides? So this would be circle.x, circle.y, then circle dot, I think it's actually just radius, not just r. So you would pass all these in. It would return true or false the same way. And so for this tester code, we could still effectively have the same second bit of this stuff here. In geometry, a rectangle is a 4-sided polygon. Yes, I believe that's true as well. I will say, fair warning though, my geometry is not the strongest. So if you are good at geometry and you don't like to watch people who are not necessarily very good at geometry flounder, this might not be the stream for you. Although a lot of the geometry is done, we just need to refactor it. Could you define it? Polygon intersects, and if the objects doesn't match what is supported, throw a not implemented exception. Could you define it? Polygon intersects, and then if the objects don't match what is supported, throw not implemented. I'm not sure I follow necessarily. I mean, we could define it, like we could define a polygon intersect, so it could be, and in fact my intention was ultimately, like if you would have a polygon object, I don't currently, but let's pretend I do. If I would have a polygon object, I was intending to make it so you could call polygon intersects and then, you know, pass in your circle or pass in your static rect or pass in your other polygon object. So that was my intention. My new intention would be one of these ones. So it would be like vector.io dot polygon rect angle intersects. That would take all the things it needs, and then there would be a polygon circle and there would be a polygon. Like make a generic call intersects. So, but the thing is, I don't want to do the objects. I'm trying to get away from the objects into just doing numeric values. That way you can use this with things that aren't vector.io. I am aware that I'm also proposing to stick it on to vector.io, which is a bit awkward. I do definitely agree that that's a bit awkward to just stick it on there if it's not going to take the objects. But that is mostly for lack of a better place to put it or any suggestions about where it should go. I am definitely open to alternative ideas on where this stuff should live. There's not exactly a clean CPython alternative that I'm aware of. There's lots of CPython modules that allow you to do two-dimensional geometric intersections, but they're all like, all the ones I'm aware of or have found are like super big frameworks like Box2D or like Matplotlib or some big stuff like that. Like there's stuff out there that can do this, but it's a bit weird to try to bring it into CircuitPython with that API. I mean, would be a bit weird because I don't intend to implement any of the rest of that whole 2D framework. Like I'm right now just focused on all the permutations of rectangle, circle, and polygon intersecting with each other. I ran into issue with vector.io because I couldn't use outlines in no-fill. Yep, that's totally true. Vector.io is solid shapes only. There's no outline, so if you wanted to have an outline, like if you wanted a visual outline, the only way to achieve it with vector.io is like make 2 of your shape and make one smaller, which is easy-ish with circles and rectangles and more of a pain with polygons. And yeah, display shapes has a like a border or an outline or something. I forgot what exactly the API calls it, but it has that functionality built in where you can just set the border. So if you do need a border or an outline, display shapes is a bit better. And if we refactor it like this, where we're just taking numeric values, that means this function, granted it's weird it's on vector.io, but that will mean that this function will also work with display shapes, right? Because you could say, you know, display shapes rectangle.x, display shapes rectangle.y, width and height, or, you know, I don't know, maybe the API is different, but like definitely all these are available on display shapes as well. Or you could even be having theoretical shapes, right? Like maybe you're measuring the intersection of some shape that's not drawn on the screen, right? I'm mostly interested in shapes that are drawn on the screen, but this concept here where we're just taking numbers, this means you can have like a hypothetical shape just in math that's not being drawn, and you can test it against some other shape, which I like the idea of. Which does make me kind of want to move it off Vector.io, but I don't know where else to put it. And I don't necessarily probably have the chops to fully just add a new module for it, and even if I did, I wouldn't know what to call it. So for now, we're just going to tack it onto Vector.io. That's the plan, at least. But to complicate things ever so slightly, Vector.io currently does not have any module level functions. Right now, Vector.io is fully comprised of the functions that create the classes, right? There's a circle class, a polygon class, a rectangle class. Right now, the only functions go into those classes. So inside shared module, inside initc, there's nothing. Inside shared bindings initc, there's a little bit, but there's no function definitions, which is where we will add it. And I will base it off of bitmap tools because I happen to know there's a bunch in here. So basically, we're going to make a static function that returns a Boolean. We're going to put it on init. I saw your math.disk got added. Which version of CircuitPython will it show up? Good question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I saw there was a release not that long ago. I do not know if it would be in that or not. Let's see. Let's have a list of PRs. Does not look like it. I mean, it does not look like it is in this one. Looks like it does have a list of PRs, honestly. These look like that, basically. My guess would be then, I think 9.1, this is like bug fix release only, so I would guess that 9.2, and then the next question becomes, is it in the existing 9.2 beta? And I don't know the answer to that either, or alpha, I guess it is. Last week, probably not then. So my guess would be the next one it will be in. My guess, this is total guess. I don't know for a fact, but my guess is the one it will be in is the next 9.2, like the next one in the 9.2 lineage, whatever it's called. So my guess is when that will actually go into a proper build that's available. Just make sure it's not actually in this one. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not in there either. Okay. That's my best guess. Okay. We basically want a static Boolean. So one thing is I don't work in the core that much, so also, if you're very used to watching someone work in the core, which you may be if you're tuning into Scott most weeks, you'll find I'm not nearly as adept at it. So we're going to name it after the module and then the function name that we want, which will be... These are all kind of weird, aren't they? Oh, maybe we need obj? Might want obj. It's like these, no, that's actually called, okay, so that's called Bitmap Tools Alpha Blend, but this one is called Bitmap Tools Object Rotozoom. Why does it object there? That one's Alpha Blend. That one's back to object. What does it mean? That one's object too. My best guess is that's like not actually I mean, what would make sense to me is if the ones that are on objects had object in the name. So, yeah. So like this would make sense. Vector.io circle object set color index. That's the set color index function that's on the Vector.io circle object. I'm guessing that's probably how it's supposed to be. And then my other guess would be these ones that are in bitmap tools that do have the OBJ maybe are not necessarily meant to. But maybe just got put in at some point, copy pasted from elsewhere, and then made their way to a few other functions. Because none of these are on objects. These are all just bitmap tools dot whatever the function name is. I'm going to base it off one of the ones without OBJ. I have no idea if that's like actually the way it's intended to be used or not, but so we're going to call this Vector.io. Let's do circle. Actually, let's do circle rect first, since that's what I have the test code on right now. And I intend to only make one. So like, you know, part of the problem with them being on the objects is we had the idea of rectangle compared to circle, but we also had the idea of circle compared to rectangle. So we kind of had both ways going there, even though it's not really, like it's the same thing, right? My intention here is to only go one way. I guess you could make like a convenience function that goes the other way and just calls the other one with the arguments flopped around, but I think I'm gonna just aim for one direction, and then you just always have to put it the way it's hard-coded. So I would like to find one of these that takes some ints. Let's find drawLine. DrawLine takes some basic stuff. All right. I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as some, but if you have core questions, ping me. I'm half paying attention, half working on something else. Nice. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So I guess we're going to have all, but do we have position? Was this positional arguments? Quarks. Okay, so yeah, we do. We're going to have all this stuff, I guess. Basically all the same, and then we'll make our own little list of... Ooh, that does not like any of that. Oh, because is it mad I didn't return? Or is it I've doubled up this? Doubled up this, okay. Is also probably mad that I haven't returned. Yeah. Vectory, yeah, circle, rectangle, intersect. Okay, and then our arguments work like this. We make this thing. We're not going to have a destination bitmap. We're going to have a... So I put circle first, so I'm going to say CX. Should I spell it out or just do the little digits or whatever? These ones just have like X1, Y1. I'm inclined to follow, but I mean, those are literal X1, Y1. And let's look at Vector.io constructors. I'm pretty sure those use like well, those just use X and Y for that. It's a circle object. It does use the full word radius. Nothing really where we do pass in a separate thing like that, is there? I'm just going to call it CX for now. CX, CY, and then CR for radius. And then we'll have our rectangle stuff. So we'll have rectangle X, rectangle Y, rectangle width, arg, rectangle height. Yeah. I suppose we should work on this while we're here. It's kind of difficult to get these things. CX W doesn't work here. Okay. Int CY. Oops. Int CR. Rectangle X. Rectangle Y. Rectangle width. Rectangle height. XY width height. So this is the circle center Y coordinate, X coordinate actually. That one's the Y coordinate. This is the circle radius. This is the rectangle X coordinate. Y. Height. Okay, we need this allowed args thing. Looks like. Let's steal this one. I'm gonna just get rid of destination bitmap and we'll copy some of the X1, Y1s since those are kind of convenient. Wait, that is very unhappy already. Oh, that's just because those don't exist until you build, I think. Yeah, I think that's fine, actually. Oops, got an extra one. Oh, that's duplicate, not delete. Duh. You don't have a value either. Are these all optional? Nope, these are all required. You need all of these. That's interesting. I guess RX must exist somewhere else. Probably, oh, TX and RX means that RX already exists as a queue string. Fair enough. Okay, allowed args, parse all. Yeah, let's do that. That comes after this. P array size? Why is this unhappy? Is that like imported from somewhere? Oh boy. P array size. Would it be from one of these things? Does this tell me where it comes from? Macro. Provided by... Oh, that's so sweet. Look at that. MISC. Is that imported or whatever, though? It's not imported. Is it like by way of another thing? How's that working? Provided by PyMISC. If you click it, it goes to MISC. Does anything in this say the word misc? No? Okay, that's nice. So how did that get into this context? I mean, it's pi misc. It must be one of these. So, I mean, it would probably not be binary. It goes to object. Enum goes to object. Object has misc. There it is. If we got object, we would have it. Maybe. I think that's how that works. We already have object. Okay, well. Theory proven false. I mean, do I just need misc directly? But that's not in the other one, so... Well, I don't really know. I'm also not sure if we're in like a buildable state at this point. See if there's compile error. Maybe once it compiles, these will be known? See, what's weird is the IDE has found it. I guess it could be coming from one of these, but those are like file system stuff, I think. That one also grabs object, but defined but not used. So it no return in a statement that says it returns. So it seems like it is compiling. Yeah, okay. I guess we just needed to compile to make that not be read. That's fine. Sweet. Okay, so that works. So but then do we need, maybe we don't need this. Can I still build without this? I'm guessing so, because it's also still not read. I'm gonna leave it out. We'll see what happens. We can just return false for now. That will get rid of one of the build errors. The other one, we will need to put more stuff. Yeah, okay. We got defined but not used. And then that one's old. So this time we got defined but not used, but we did not get the other one. So that's fixed because it returns now. We'll obviously make it return something more specific later. Okay, so next up, we are going back to draw a line, but we want the bindings one, draw line. After this, it does what? It says, so we don't need to do this part. This is converting. The thing that came in was an object, so this is like turning it into the object it is or whatever. Ours are just going to be numbers, therefore, I don't think we have to do that. All of these just get pulled out of here like that, which is pretty much what we're going to do. This is like error validation stuff. Are there invalid values? I don't think there really are invalid values with this one, right? Like we're allowing negatives. I'm pretty sure the math works on negatives too. I mean, like, none would be invalid, I guess. I presume there's already some checking on that going on, but I guess I'm not positive. I would think this maybe would take care of... probably not, actually. I don't know. I don't know if draw a line... I'm not sure if it raises an exception if you pass none. That would be the only kind of, like, validation I could think of, though, is, like, make sure you actually did pass numbers for all of these. Other than that, though, I think it's pretty much you're allowed to do anything within that. Oops. And then we will call the function, but ours will not be bitmap tools drawline, it will be vector IO circle rectangle intersects. We will pass in all of these things: cx, cy, cr, rx, ry, r width, r height. But that's not defined. But before I go and define it, I am gonna stick here and do this thing, which we need. Fine, so this will be... Okay, so this one, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go back to, was it alpha or dither? Dither we could do. Okay. Yeah, so this one is called just bitmap tools dither, and that's what the second argument here, well, third argument technically, the second named argument. This is, what is that? That's the number of arguments, but that's set to 0. Dither only has more than 0 arguments. There's something in this that tells it how many arguments. Maybe we don't need that for functions, only on object? Let me look at shared binding circle. What is going on here? Oh, this... Yeah. So do we need that? Maybe we don't need that because that's obj. Whereas this is define const function object keyword. Find constant fun object 2. An object keyword, but it's also const. Oh, they're both const. Okay. This function object 2, and then this one's function object 1, and that is the number of arguments, I'm pretty sure. So then I guess we would not need that. I guess keyword is like the alternative to that, basically. And this will be our function here. I don't know what the 0 represents. Does this tell us? Args min. So does dither... I was looking at dither, wasn't I? Does dither really allow you to call it with 0 args? But it says args required. I don't know, I guess we'll leave that as 0. I'm pretty sure you have to pass these. I'm not sure where it enforces it, I guess, but pretty sure you have to pass them. Maybe here? Be my best guess is that it validates it in there. I don't know, though, for sure. Okay, so then this will be vector IO. Circle, rectangle, intersects, and then this one does get the obj because it represents a different thing. That one's the function. Incompatible function pointer types. Do have an extra one of this. I wonder if it's just gonna stay mad because this doesn't exist. Also, we'll probably be returning that. We comment that out. Is the rest of this, will it build? Is it another case where it's like only broken until we build? No. It only doesn't like this. And the function of that, near the initialization of that. What else do we need? It does say requires all 5 here. I mean, is there anything else that is literally this? So there's all this dither algorithm stuff, but that's the first mention of it. That's all algorithm, and then we get into bitmap tools dither, which does all of its stuff. It calls common how, and then it goes and says define constant function object keywords. This comes from name here, which we don't have yet. Is that just mad because we don't have this yet? Map tools. So that's the object one, this one. Can we build now? Seems like maybe we got farther. But maybe we get a build. It must have had to do the clean stuff under the hood or whatever. Like sometimes you can get really, really fast builds, especially with Raspberry Pi port. Now it's still not happy about this. Error. Initialization of void. Blah, 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 blah. warnings treated as errors. Unused. Okay, all those are unused because we took out the call to common how. Those will get used once we bring that back. I am not understanding what goes here. Like on these ones in bitmap tools, like I had this problem before too though, and I don't remember what was the solution. On these ones, the function is there. Interesting, Blit has a 1 there. Pretty sure there's more than one required argument for that too though, so I'm not sure what. Maybe that means the required keyword argument specifically. But I don't think the number is our problem, really. The number is not read. Ah, man, I so do not understand why. Just got in a little bit ago, saw you put a double underscore in the function name. Could that be the issue? Good question. Double underscore. The function name. Which one? I think I have only singles. And see where it was, but it caught my eye. I definitely did fix that somewhere a few minutes ago. And I don't remember where at this point now either. But I did, you probably saw that back then, and I think I fixed it. Let's see if I can do this actually. Double underscore name. So the only two instances here are in name. Those are fine. Yeah, I think we're good on that one now. Thank you, though, for the heads up. Maybe in line 83, and you might have missed me fixing it. Yeah. Yeah, I do think one of these ones, one of them was doubled up somewhere for sure. I don't think that changing that to 1 is going to make any difference, but I'm going to change it to 1 and make a build. Yeah. Initialization of void size const map. Bool unsigned. Is it? This should not. Maybe this should be. Maybe this should not be returning Boolean. This should probably be returning this, I guess. We probably need to take our Boolean and make it, yeah, see, that fixed that up right away. Okay, so this thing knows about the return type of the function, and this function is inside shared bindings, which means it returns an object type thing. This common how will return a Boolean, and then we'll need to take that Boolean and convert it to a MP object somehow. What is a function in the core that returns a Boolean? The hidden property? It's come from vector shape. Yeah. Okay, hidden returns a Boolean, and that's actually making it return an object, and then that looks like how we convert our Boolean to our object that represents the Boolean in Python land. Okay. So we should be able to build now. Yeah, well, it will still cry that these are unused, but hopefully the other one is gone. There's NP true and NP false. Oh, nice. So we could not necessarily have to call that function. We could do an if statement or something. Okay, so yeah, all those are unused, but that's the only error now. The other thing is not mad anymore, so hooray. So now we can define common how vector IO circle rectangle. That's going to go inside of shared modules, init. Currently, there's nothing here. But we're basically going to steal the code from circle. Some of it. So circle intersects. So this one, wherever it went, this one, no, this one will return a Boolean. It will take it's not going to take self. It's going to take all those arguments. I think those are these. I think those can be uint 16s because that's what we turned them into in shared bindings, actually. Yeah. Those are making those uint 16s. Pretty sure. So this would be like a boatload of these. CX. CY. Something seems wrong here. Need to import those? We'll probably need all of those, truthfully. Okay, that seemed to fix it up. I don't know which one is in which. You can maybe go back and try to take them out later. May not have the exact syntax. NP const true. Nice. I may do that instead of calling that function so we don't have to import another thing. But that'll be back in bindings. We need to get this to return something first. Okay, let's keep adding these. CR uint though. I don't know what's the customary like formatting for this. I guess there's Clang or whatever. Something will format it in pre-commit. Okay. So this one is circle rectangle. So circle intersects, and we want specifically where we had a rect. And then we can pretty much use all of this stuff here, but CR. So that's turning those to. Do we need NP ints? Can I just use uint 16s? It says using np-ints for everything. Not sure if those just come through directly or what. So we don't need to look these up. We already have them. Everywhere where we use self x and self y, so that was self inside of circle, so that is now going to be circle x. And then self y is going to be circle y. That took care of most of the problems. We had... So I calculated left, right, top, bottom instead of using specifically XY width height. But the left and the top are actually just the X and Y. So that's rectangle X. Now I don't know if these are going to work. Rectangle Y. And then this would be rectangle width. And yeah, I guess we'll leave that for now. I'm going to rename these from other here in a minute, though. Rectangle height. Okay, it's not complaining, so maybe np-int and uint16 are interchangeable in this way, hopefully. Okay, so instead of other left, though, let's call this rect left, rect right, rect bottom, rect top. So those are the coordinates that the top, left, right, and bottom are on. So it's just kind of like one calculation away from the x, y, width, and height. It's because the formula down here uses it that way to be more convenient. So instead of other left, we're going to call that rect left. Then instead of other right, that will be rect right. Other top. Bottom. Oh. Oops. Okay. Okay, so I did get the tip from the Shippu a few weeks ago. We could actually be more efficient than this as well. We could not do the square root here, but instead account for it in our... I believe this is how this goes. I need to look back at all the numbers. Honestly, if for geometry, I'm a like needs to look at it visually kind of person, more so than the code like this. But I do understand there's a way we can do this without the square root. We can basically take the square root out of this calculation and then put a squared effectively somewhere else, and then it still gives us the same answer, but it gets out of doing a square root operation, which is, I understand, to be a bit more costly. Although, truthfully, we're doing just numeric math inside of the core here. It's going to be really, really fast no matter what, I think. But still good to make it better, especially if we want to use it for like real-time games and stuff, which I ultimately do intend to try. Okay, this might like work, I think. I don't know. Let's try bindings, uncomment this. So that's going to give us a bool result. We need to import that. It's actually called include from... I guess that would be from just, we would import it from shared module, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. So we were importing circle. We were importing shared bindings circle, but inside shared bindings circle, it's importing shared module circle. So for us here inside of shared bindings init C, I guess we can't import shared bindings init C. That's what we are. So I guess we need to also be importing shared module vector IO init. And we need to actually declare that in the H file. Doesn't exist yet. But what is that? Oh, but none of these are declared in the H file. Do we need to declare that in the H file? Inside of shared bindings, bitmap tools, how does this get the common how ones? Does this import from shared module? Does not. It imports shared bindings palette. Oh. Okay, this is shared bindings in H. We need to declare this in there. We haven't touched that. Yeah, okay. So we need to put in here, like, the definition of this. I don't know, what is event function? I'm not sure what that is. Void. Copy paste it so we don't mess that up. And then these are like, wasn't it uint? I think it was uint 16s. Let me just copy the. Make sure we can just copy all this stuff too, right? Should those be uint? Maybe those should be int. Do we want? Well, I said earlier, I'm pretty sure negatives work. So these probably shouldn't be unsigned, right? These should probably be signed. We'll have to check. I'm not positive about negatives. My intention is for it to support negatives. If it doesn't, then we can turn that back off, or maybe we can figure out what to change to make it. Okay, so with that, then I think we can copy this, put all that stuff there, and that's our definition, which means that back in shared bindings init C, we now have gotten that. It does not like this. Initializing bool with an expression of incompatible type void. Did I say void? The void here. This should be bool. There we go. Okay, so that's result, and then we can go if result return. I don't know why the indentation control is not so good in CLion. We're in CLion here, which is the JetBrains C IDE. But I find like all the other JetBrains IDEs are really good about indentions. But CLion is like, sometimes yes, but other times just like, nah. Okay. You said, what was that? MP. If you think of it, yeah, x equals square root y is the same of x times x equals y. Yeah. Yeah, comparing the square root of 1, square the distance. Yeah. MP const true. So this would be return MP const true. That seems to work. And then we'll just say else return MP const false. We can get rid of this. We can add that. All right, this is mad now because I don't actually know. I didn't touch that, I don't think. I don't know why that's mad. Hopefully that's just Temporarily mad. Can we make a build? No. So that is actually mad. So what? How did we make that mad? Didn't even touch that. Maybe I touched it accidentally. Maybe I'm missing a comma. No, I have a comma. Use of undeclared identifier. Why is it undeclared? Oh. What happened here? Okay, well that's a weird way to do it. But really, we want this back. I don't know. I must have taken that out and replaced it with a copy of this for some reason. I don't really know why. I guess we could put it in order. Let's get out of this. Okay. Fingers crossed. Nope. Previous prototype for Common Hal. No previous prototype for. That's line 13. Did I put Common Hal? No previous prototype for. That says shared module. 13. I think it needs to import shared bindings in init-h now. Is that right? Shared module bitmap tools imports what? Yeah. Okay, so shared module init needs to import shared bindings init because that's where that common hal is declared, I guess. I don't know the proper term. Maybe declared. It's probably not defined. Might be declared. Still no. But maybe I did it wrong. Does not really look wrong. Oh, but that's in shared module. So that needs to be in shared bindings, I guess. A little bit. And I mean, unless you've been here the whole time. Implicit declaration. Did I mean... Are those the same? Knit, C, shared bindings. Should probably get into the point where we probably should close some of these. 77. I have lost circle in the name somehow. Where did the one without circle come from? I don't know if this works from here. Okay, so for one thing, oh, those exist in rectangle. That exists in rectangle. So really this is just telling me that my import is still broken, basically. Saying this doesn't exist. So when we get to 77 inside shared bindings and initc, put it here, matches how bitmap tools is done. Shared bindings in initc. When we try to call it here, it doesn't exist. So this, right, this needs to be bindings because I moved that over from module to make it match. Okay. Fingers crossed. Nope, that's not the build one. Fingers crossed. Oh my goodness. We actually got one to build. Does it run? Is the next question. So we did not remove the functions from circle and rectangle yet, which means that the existing code probably will just start running and do the exact same thing it was doing before. We will want to update the CodePy to use the new function. And then hopefully it doesn't wreck the device. That's the goal. Okay, so we at least have not made a build of CircuitPython that is just completely broken. This thing still works. It's not trying to use the new stuff, but it's at least not broken. Which is a step in the right direction, really. Why did this not work? What? Okay, well, sure enough, there does not appear to be a drive connected for some reason. Not really sure what that's about. Let's just do the old pluggy repluggy action. Really been much good, is it? I heard it beep a minute ago, and obviously it connected to the bootloader. Are we serious right now? Why is it not connecting anymore? Okay, that time it jingled. Sure what that was about, but give it the old actual unplug and replug, and now it's happy. The first unplug and replug, I actually cheated and used the button. I have buttons on my USB hub. but that wasn't good enough. Alright, so this is now static rect circle intersects. Looks like I never actually changed, I never saved all of that code that I was putting into here. So this would be circle, rectangle, intersects, and then that's going to be the circle X, circle Y, circle radius. I'm going to make a new line, static rect X. Okay, so functionally, if the new code works, this should basically do the same thing. Oh, that is nice. Okay, look at that. We have managed to not only get a build that does not just crash or hard fault, it actually does what it's intended to do. Not really on the first try of building, but on the first try of running the builds at least. That's pretty good. Okay, so now we would need to do all of that again for circle, circle, and then rectangle, rectangle, and then eventually we could add polygon. But also though, while we're here, let's try to do this. Can we do, in honor of the Shippu joining, let's use this, which I only know about because of him. So dist here, so we would basically undo this, and then we're comparing dist to that. So if we multiply that again, we'll get CR squared, which lets us, yeah, isn't that right? That lets us basically drop the square root from here, which means that this will be squared instead of square rooted. And then we will compare that to the squared of the radius. So it should still turn the thing green at the right times if I did it correctly. See, there's the quick build I was talking about. That was like not even 5 seconds or something. I have no idea how it manages to do them that quickly sometimes. But the Raspberry Pi port I found, for me at least on this environment, is the one that I've found that goes the fastest. I'm always slightly surprised when the code I write works. Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, yeah, especially CircuitPython core stuff. If I write it and it compiles, I'm pretty happy. If I run it and it doesn't hard fault, I'm really happy. If I run it and it doesn't hard fault and actually does what I was intending it to do, I'm like basically ecstatic. Nice. Yeah, that's working perfect. Okay, so now we got no more square roots in there. And we can still fly our circle, and the intersection still works. Okay, so let's start the next one. Now we have stuff to copy, though, that's actually in Vector.io and not bitmap tools. Let's do circle, circle next. Actually, let's do rectangle, rectangle next. Actually, let me look at the code. Do I have a static circle? I can just make a static circle, I guess, right? I don't. I only have a static rect. But we'll make a static circle. So let's do circle, circle first. Circle, circle intersects. We're going to take, so these ones, though, we have 2 circles. So we're going to have C1X, C2Y, yeah, C1X, C1Y, C1 radius, and then C2X, C2Y, C2 radius. We have 2 circles this time. Works is a strong term. Does this want new lines? I assume this wants new lines at the end. Okay. Pretty much we could copy like all of this actually. Vector IO circle circle. Arg. This makes me think of a pirate when I read this. We could build a pirate language. I don't know what the code for the pirate language is though. Maybe you just use the word pirate? Stuff is still sad. That just went away when we built last time, I think, so hopefully we'll do the same this time. Oh. Okay. Circle, circle. C1x, C1y, C1r. C2x, C2y, C2r. There's our result. This is basically the same. This is now circle, circle. This is now circle, circle. We want to add it to here, circle, circle. See, this goes much faster the second time around. When we have something in our own module to compare to here, instead of trying to bounce back and forth to bitmap tools. Okay, I think all of that stuff's fine. So we don't have this declared. Well, we have it declared, but we don't have it implemented. We need to do that. I'm gonna open shared module on this side, I think. I'm tired of scrolling this around. Let's move this. Move to the other side. Okay, so I'll copy that. We'll go here. Go circle, circle. We can put this. We can put this. Conflicting types. Did I do void again? I did boolean. Conflicting types, circle, circle, intersects. Maybe could it be conflicting with the one that's on the circle object? I don't think so though, because that would be circle object intersects. Maybe it's just because I don't have the arguments. Probably just because I don't have the arguments. Yeah, okay, so it's saying the arguments are different on this one, therefore they're two different functions, therefore we don't know where to find it. Truth is, I just didn't put the arguments in yet. Okay, so this one we get to take also from circle. Possible circle. Okay, so we'll say, well, let's just not use self x and self y. We're going to call that, we're going to say self is C1 and other is C2. So anywhere where we have self x, we're actually going to go, oops, that doesn't work here. I want this. Instead of self x, we're going to go C1x. And instead of self y, that's going to be C1y. And then We don't really need to do other stuff either. Instead of other circle X, that's going to be C2X. Control W doesn't even work? What is that? C2Y. And then we have other and self radius. So that is C1R, C2R. And then we do have the square root thing again here. I'm going to run it like this first, though, just so that I can see if it works or not before we go trying to change it. I don't actually know if I did everything, but while that's building, I'm going to run to the restroom, so BRB. Okay. Are you eventually going to add checking for points as well? I hadn't considered points, but yeah, probably we should, right? Yeah, I think so. It's a good idea. So it would be like circle point intersects and rectangle point intersects, polygon point intersects. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it. But yeah, it probably would be good. I will cop to having taken all of the logic for this from here. So I will have to check and make sure that there are, yeah, so there's point circle. There is point rectangle. Well, point rectangle is easy because you just make sure it's to the left of the right line, to the right of the left line, below the top line, above the bottom line. That one's actually easy. I don't see rectangle point specifically, but I do think that one's super easy. Yeah. And there is polygon point down here, which I would definitely need in order to implement it for polygons. Okay, this did build. So let's go to bootloader. Didn't want to derail you. Working on a similar challenge. Using this that you showed a while ago. Yep. Yeah, this Jeffrey, I think that's the same one, yeah? Jeffrey Thompson, yeah. These pages have been like my, basically, Rosetta Stone for making this possible, pretty much. Like, I would never have been able to do, I mean, I could have found the math somewhere else, I suppose, but I needed to find the math somewhere. I didn't just know it from geometry class very many years ago. And this place explains it in a way that is super easy for me to understand and convert to code. It is implemented in JavaScript. All the code they show is JavaScript, but you know, if you kind of have similar concepts in Python or whatever, it's analogous. Let's see, CPU, we're going to copy that. I probably just have this up here, right? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this built and it ran, and it hasn't crashed or anything, but our code here is checking circle against rectangle. If we want to test the new part, we actually need to be testing circle against circle. So let's make a new one of these and make a static circle can put it in the same spot-ish. Technically, we would add some to that, I guess, but if we wanted it to be centered in the same spot, we would need to add half the width and the height from before. I don't know if that's really that important. What's my other circle is? Radius 17. Let's go bigger than that, maybe 30? I don't know how big that is. I'm gonna copy this part, but only the circle stuff. If twice. This is static circle. This time it doesn't really matter which one we do first and second. Continuation. Okay. Theoretically, I do have auto reload turned off, so let's reload. Oh, nope, RH required. Oh. Didn't change the name. Nice. Has not crashed yet. Nice. It actually works. There's a trick there for a second. I think I managed to just barely skirt by the edge there. Yeah, because these are totally working even when you're really close. Alright, cool. And then fully contained also? Yeah, fully contained works too. Nice. Sweet. Okay, so we can do the square root. Let's undo that part. So no more square root. More square root. So then this is squared. So then this needs to be times itself again. I don't know. Parentheses probably not. Are they? Maybe they are necessary actually. Pretty sure that means that works the same. So we can make a build. Super fast build. Bootloader. Copy. Whistles in amazement. I'm happy to have amazed you. I'm amazed somewhat myself. Luckily, like all the logic in this I had done before. Although we are running out of those. I have rectangle, rectangle, which I wrote before, and that's the last of the ones that I have actually done already. So then after rectangle, rectangle, we would have to get back to actually doing the meat and potatoes in here. Although it is 5:35 already, we probably won't make it long enough to be doing any of that today. I'll be back in the morning to stream tomorrow over on my own channel, but I don't know if I will work on this. I might work on the web editor. Shameless random plug. I'm working on a serial plotter for the web IDE. So I might work on this tomorrow. But I'll definitely be streaming. All right, did we get the... Yeah, we got that. We got that. Did I copy it? I don't know if I... Now I'm second guessing if I actually made the build after... Did we make the build after we changed to this? So that says it's down. Yeah, I mean, I guess we must have. Yeah, I guess we must have. That one's in a PR over in the web editor repo currently, but it isn't draft because it's still a little bit wonky. Sweet. Yeah, that looks like it's working. So as long as I did actually run the latest one, then it totally does work. Just to be safe, because I totally distracted myself, and I'm not sure if I actually did like make the latest build and copy the latest build. I mean, it looks like we did, so I would assume so, but I'm just going to reflash it, check again. And then we'll do rectangle, rectangle. Yeah. Perfect. All right, awesome. That one's way faster. Okay, so we can do, let's actually get the one with rect. Let's go rectangle, rectangle. Then we can grab a copy of these. And then we can do the old onesie twosies like this, same way. Display a charting library would be awesome. The clue board had a really great charting, but I think it was Arduino. That would be kind of cool. There is what is that called? There's like the start of one. It's definitely not as feature rich as some of the plotter stuff that exists, and it certainly doesn't just work like the one in the IDE. I'm trying to blank on the name, but there is a Cartesian? I think it's Cartesian. Yeah. This one is in CircuitPython.org. I think at one point it was in Display.io layout, and it maybe is still there. I don't know if they all got removed or not, but it's definitely over here now as well. Cartesian, I don't know, I don't think there's a picture, but it does. This one draws a chart, and it allows you to put a little crosshair, and then it might allow you to plot points. Or this one allows you to plot lines, it looks like. So there is this, and then actually one more, there is the spark line. This one lets you draw the axes really easily, which is nice, and then plot stuff in it, but there is also the spark line, which is in display shapes, I think, actually. Yeah. Which is like a line chart. The spark line is a bit more restricted, though. This one, I think, only lets you do one line, if I recall correctly, whereas the Cartesian, you might be able to plot multiple lines on, I think, since you're just putting your own pixels in, basically, but I don't remember for sure. It's been a long time since I've used either of them. Those are two things to look into, though, if you're interested in plotting on the actual device itself. Rather, this one is in the IDE, so you would see this on your PC in the browser, not necessarily on the microcontroller. And the way it works is the microcontroller prints the values, and then the IDE plots them, kind of the same as what Mu does if you turn it on. And I do think that other clue plotting thing is Arduino as well. I think you're right on that. Okay, that's good. Bindings C. Let's take circle rectangle again, since we have two rectangles. Sure how many lines. Oh, it looks like 2 lines. Rectangle, rectangle. We're gonna have 2 sets of these. I don't think I updated any of these last time. In fact, we didn't even upload them. We didn't even update the name. This is red now, but I'm guessing it's probably really because of the other one we added. Wait. What have I done? I have... Okay. Okay, that's circle, circle. This says circle, circle, but it's meant to be rectangle, rectangle. Alright, we need to fix these two. I'm not sure if that's valid. Guess we'll find out. Okay. I should have copied... I copied circle, circle, seemingly. I meant to copy circle, rectangle. Seems like we actually copied circle, circle. I'm gonna go back and do this. Let's paste 2 copies of those. Whoops. Oops, that should be 2. Probably messed up R1W. Yeah. Okay, that one is the function name here, and then this one would be rectangle, rectangle here. And then we want to add it to this. Okay, and we have shared bindings, rectangle, rectangle, shared module, common, copy this. I'm missing an H. Alright, we need to finally go to rectangle. But we need to be in rectangle shared module. Intersects possible rectangle. This is our logic. Okay, so instead of self left, we are gonna have R1x. So in self is gonna be R1, other is gonna be R2. So this would be RW, R1W, self top, R1Y, R1H. Whoa, nice. De Luani triangulation. The triangle gets created and then the circumference of those points needs to check for other points. Whoa. That's cool. That looks sweet. Yeah, I'll totally add the point one in. Let's see. Okay, so there's self bottom. So then you go through and do other, and then I'll rename these after. So that's R2x, R2 width, R2y, R2 height. Let's call that R1 left. R1 right. R1 top. R1 bottom. Same thing here. R2 left. R2 right. Top. Bottom. All right, I think that might be everything. Whoops. Let's try to make a build. While that's running, we can try to update this. So right now we have static circle. We want to go back to static rectangle. We also want to change from circle, which is implicitly the moving circle, to use the moving rectangle instead. Which means we won't be moving the circle anymore. We'll be moving the rect. So we need to flop all of these. And it means that here, I'm actually just gonna get a whole new one of these. I'm kind of polluting this file, but oh well. And then again here, it doesn't really matter the order we do these. So I'll just put static second and moving first. This will be moving rect. Okay. Did the build succeed? No. Probably forgot to update something. Yeah, these are all wrong still. In fact, might not have done any of this stuff. Oh, I did some of it, just not this part. Okay. Grab the rectangle ones from here. Just delete all of these because they're all circles. Let's put 2 copies of rectangles. It's a SciPy spatial. I've taken it for granted how easy it is to use in CPython. CircuitPython will do that to you. If you're used to using CPython, there's lots of stuff that feels like it might work out of the box that doesn't necessarily. I think that's a good testament to how well the APIs actually do match between CircuitPython and CPython, that it is able to feel like stuff will always just work. But it does sometimes turn out not so much, especially if it's like NumPy or SciPy or any of those large CPython modules that are relatively huge. We do have ULab, which has part of NumPy and I think some parts of SciPy, but I don't know how much. Well, we haven't built out just yet. We're definitely not on one of the quick builds again, but haven't built out at least. I should save this before I do anything, because otherwise we're gonna lose. Oh, maybe I did already, I guess. Okay, yeah, it looks like I did already. You can go to bootloader. This has been not mounted all the way just yet. Alright, I think I'll probably wrap it up after this one. If anyone's got last minute questions, comments, ideas to share, anything you'd like to say, now's the time. Alright, that's a very small one of those, but that's fine. Yeah, look at that. Nice. And it's even like half on, half off working. The corner there looked a little... like right there looks a little weird, but I think we're technically 1 pixel out. It's just, it's really small. I think we're technically 1 pixel out there. Probably be good to make this bigger. Let's make moving rect a bit bigger. That's 1010. Let's make it 3030. Thanks for keeping it real. Yep. Thanks for watching along. Save this, reset. Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, thank you. You have a nice evening as well. Thanks for watching along. All right, yeah, that's looking good. So we got the 3 of those at least refactored, the 3 that existed before. Eventually, I'll go and cut back out the ones that are on the actual circle and rectangle objects, which will be nice because then we'll lose the duplicates, which we now have an extra duplicate of because we have it over here too, but we'll lose all the duplicates and be down to just 1 implementation of each permutation of shapes, which will be super nice. And then we'll do polygon later on, and we'll do point intersection later on as well. Reminder, I'll be back in the morning tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time, over on my own channel. I don't think I'll be working on this. I think I'm going to get back into some serial plotter web editor stuff, although that is still, 12 hours away or whatever. Maybe I'll change my mind in between then. That could always happen. I'll drop a link in the live broadcast chat like I normally do when I get started. Other than that, thank you everyone for watching along. Thanks for all the folks that drop tips and helps and links in the chat. Hope everyone has a good rest of your Friday and a good weekend. I don't think I have talked to Scott about next week yet, so I'm not sure about next week's deep dive. For all I know, I believe he is back, but that being said, he might not be either. I just haven't talked to him about it yet. So don't know the plan for sure, but I'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, until then, I will bid you farewell. Thanks for watching, and see you later.